the meeting to order. Looking for verification of public notice and approval agenda with an appointment for a temporary clerk for this meeting.
Also move with the amendment.
Second.
We have to appoint the clerk.
Yeah, appoint the clerk. Adam?
That's
I'll appoint
fine.
you to be the clerk. So Mary was the first, Ross was the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moment of silence to reflect on the business at hand. Wautoma Area School District Strategic Plan, Mission Statement, building positive foundations for the success of our children.
Business and community involvement through internships, job shadowing, and mentorship.
Developing marketing of the district and community through branding.
Improve work and people skills.
Develop parental contacts, promoting school involvement.
Build productive relationships with the medical field to increase support and open lines of communication to support students with mental health issues. Item E, recognition of persons wishing to address the board. Nothing. On to administrative reports. District Administrator Tom.
Nothing to add that is in my board.
Okay. Administrators. I'm going to start with Cindy tonight.
I don't have anything to add.
That's why I started. Usually you always say that's why I don't start there. All right, Erica's gone, right? Okay. Sierra.
Nothing to add.
Okay. Caitlin.
Nothing to add.
All
Great
right.
job.
Jewel.
I do have two new staff members
Sure.
who are here to meet the board. One is pending approval tonight. So we have Jenny Pratt, who is hopefully going to be taking on our 4K8 position, filling in for that retirement that occurred at the end of the year. She is coming from Whitnall School District outside of Milwaukee, and she served in the exact same role that she is now transitioning into up in our district. And then we also have Kristen Jenks, our new first grade teacher. Kristen, we're fortunate to have already worked with her. She student taught at Riverview in the position that she is taking over this fall. So we're fortunate that she is on board and they are both here to just meet the board.
Well, welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here, Cindy.
All right. Don't see Jim. Deb.
Nothing to add, thank you.
All right. Adam.
I do have two things. One, July 26th, we'll have a parent-athlete meeting in the field house at 6. So it just helps spread the word, obviously, with having COVID. And now this year, things will change. It'll be important that the parents make it there and the athletes so that they understand how the athletic season is going to look. And then WIAA sent out an email. Steph Hauser took over in July 1. Wade Lebecki is stepping away, but he will be meeting with the Sports Advisory Committee here very soon before he retires to talk about their recommendations. So that will be coming out. I know there's our policies, but what they're going to recommend and what indoor, outdoor, what the playoffs look like, stuff like that. So WIA is going to meet very, very soon. I'm hoping they get it out before August 1.
Okay. Doug.
Nothing to add at this time.
All right, and Jen's gone, right? Board members. Nothing? All right, consent agenda. Item 1, minutes. Approval for the June 14, 2021 monthly meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Barry. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 2, staffing. I'll entertain a motion to take items 2A, 1 through 6, and B, 1 through 10, even though 8 through 10 is information only. But I'll entertain a motion for all of that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Ross. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, policy, student academic standards notice.
Just to give a little background on this, again, on an annual basis is why we have to place this on the agenda, that our standards are posted at some location, and they are posted on the website. So that's the Wisconsin state standards, and then also the NGS standards for science. are posted on there. So those are the standards that we follow for our accounting.
So move approved.
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, action items. 1, business and finance. Item A, approved June 2021 treasurer's report.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as printed.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1B, approve vouchers and payroll.
Make a motion to approve the vouchers and payroll as printed.
Second.
Motion by Karen, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1C, approve the school year 2021-2022 nursing contract.
So the contracts for Gary Kuczynski through Wautoma County, it's for the school year and for Camp Parkside of the next year. There was this year doing the vaccination clinic.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 1D, approve the increase in work hours for the kitchen staff.
Again, to keep a pulse on the goings on in the district, doing exit interviews and having another conversation, Cindy and I have determined that with everything that's taking place in the food service program, that stress, some frustration of not having enough time to complete their jobs with cleaning and the preparing of food and the serving of food. So with that, we would like to make a recommendation to add up to 1 hour per position in the district. We do have the funds available through the food and service program budget. I think Cindy costed it out for the year at $13,000. So I have a letter drafted. Cindy helped me draft a letter. We have a letter drafted that will go out to the food service staff. If potentially that interfered with maybe someone else's employment opportunity that they have besides working in the food service program, because sometimes those are like 2 to 3 hour positions. We don't want people quitting because of that, but we want to offer up that extra hour as potential. We do have some 6 hour people that will go to 7 hours. That will help them with their benefits also. So we feel like it's a correct and positive gesture to our food service staff as we move forward. So that's our proposal.
Currently, are we fully staffed, Tom? Are we fully staffed?
She's hiring for head cook at Riverview and a head cook at Red Granite. She has interviews this week, I believe, Cindy, if that's correct. And then she has a couple of kitchen helper positions. So, but I know she's interviewing 4 people this week for those positions. We had 5 retirees this year.
3 of them were head cooks, so
Yep.
it was, it's a little bit harder to find those
Right.
people. And there wasn't anybody in the kitchens who wanted to step up to them.
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Barry. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H2, policy A, approve the revised school counselor job description, second consideration.
It seems like a long time ago, but we brought this to you guys in June. We added 3 items, and Jim Rochelle, looking at the counselor position, when we hired Dwayne Coolbert, and he felt the 3 items were necessary additions to the job description that hadn't been done in 10 years. So again, second consideration for that approval.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Barry, second by Adam. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2B, approve the 2021-22 Wautoma Area School District COVID-19 mitigation plan.
So I know you guys have, this is sort of Katie's much cleaner copy that you have in front of you here. And this is what will get sent out to families if you approve tonight. Just some quick background before maybe you guys have questions of us. I did meet with Patty Wolfile, Tony Marinac, and some representatives from Wild Rose. I think each district's going to be a little bit different, but I did communicate our plan. Patty Wolfile was very supportive of our plan. I thought it was very thorough, very well thought out, it was based on data, and she was fully supportive of the plan. one modification we made after the fact is, I was getting some gut feeling and just some hearings about the transportation piece, that they may pull that off at the federal level. And so I talked to Carrie Krasinski about it, and she was supportive of it. We also make it optional on the bus and in vehicles, because there was that possibility that it was going to continue through September 13th. We thought it was confusing if we were to start with masks on the bus, and then literally be in the school 10 days later and pulling them off the bus, and not having. So she felt like with the plan that we have in place, that would also work in the transportation situation as well as within the school building. And so that's one modification that's in the plan, is to make it optional there. Data-wise, for those of you who follow, I follow way too closely. But cases are up in Wisconsin. Hospitalizations are up a little bit. ICUs are pretty stable. We're not near the situation as maybe some other states right now. Vaccination numbers have stabilized. Washoe County has had 0 cases over a 7-day average now. Over the last 7 days, it's had an average of 0 cases. So again, I asked Carrie again today, I just wanted to verify, do you feel comfortable with this plan? She says she feels comfortable with this plan. So I guess my recommendation would be to go with this plan, and then obviously if you have questions or concerns, we can address those then.
What kind of power does the plan vest in you to change it should the need arise quickly?
I think if the need arises quickly, I would want to get a board meeting together.
Okay.
At this point in time, I think we're at the point now where I think we had a lot more leeway last year than
Sure.
we're probably going to have this year.
Sure.
And so I think, not that I'm trying to take the heat off myself,
No.
but I think we want to make it official that if we felt like we need to make adaptations to this plan quickly, I would get you guys together. Obviously, we have 24 hours and we can turn
Sure.
that around and go forward. But yeah, that's what I would want to do.
Fair.
What about the WIA? I know they're gonna come out with their information soon, but where do we lie if it comes out where they say, everybody has to mask up or something?
Yeah,
Do we have any?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, Adam, but I would assume based on how they ended the year, it's going to be very flexible
Okay.
and very open, because they really scaled back as we went into the spring sports season. So I would guess that'll continue. They're meeting with their pediatric doctors right now, based on the email that we received today. So I would guess it'll be very flexible. I mean, I've not heard of any other districts in this area that's going to continue to mask and continue to have restrictions. In fact, some are going completely back to normal without not even having contact tracing and quarantining. So I would assume that they're probably going to be very flexible. Now, that's just an assumption. If they were to come out and say, this is mandatory for you to play, we're going to have to follow that. And we'll just have to communicate that to parents. I would be doubtful if that will occur.
Any seating restrictions on buses?
We're still going to have assigned seats, and but we're going to have more kids on the bus
Okay.
than we have this year.
So I know we're striving for the new mitigation plan in the cafeterias and classrooms. You're looking to strive for a 3-foot buffer between the students. Is that going to carry over to the school bus too? Are you going to have that kind of separation?
I think what we would attempt to do, Barry, is to say there might be 2 students per seat,
Okay.
and then just follow this quarantine process. So let's say one kid is a positive, the kid sitting next to him is a close contact. We would go through this protocol of were they vaccinated, did they have a mask on? If not, then we were asking for 7 days to wear a mask as long as you're symptom-free, and then we move forward. So we follow the same exact protocol. The CDC came out, as you know, this weekend with recommendations, and one of the recommendations was to try to keep it at 3 feet, but if you can't keep it at 3 feet, don't shut things down because you can't keep it at 3 feet. Move forward,
Right.
but we'd like to see you at 3 feet. And they also recommended that masks be worn unvaccinated. But again, I think that's all hinging on where you're located right now and what's going on in your situation. So, now I will say this, it was beautiful this year of having some things that will stay the same that Dave Riley changed. We'll never go to Parkside for the near future to bring everybody in and then have everybody split into the thing. So we'll do 5 buses at each school again, but they won't run it twice, they'll just run it once. And that's nice, so all schools will be coming out at the same time. That means Parkside doesn't have to go as late, everybody will sort of have the same dismissal time. And then kids will have assigned seats, and we this year, which was really nice for the drivers, we didn't take last second, well, hey, my kid needs to ride to so-and-so's house. We're not gonna do that anymore. So if your kid needs to go in so-and-so's house, you need to arrange other transportation for them. That way we can really keep kids assigned to their seats and know who's on the bus. We, and Blessed Bide's already started it, but it was really bending over backwards for people, like, hey, can my kid ride this bus tonight to go to this house? Can my kid ride this bus? We're eliminating that altogether. You ride your bus, and you have your assigned seat, and we move forward.
Not just for child security, that's.
It is, and we know who's where, and we're not chasing kids all over. But it was us just doing favors for people and being nice, and just sort of takes that nicety away. But nobody complained about it last year.
So what about the bus transportation for like St. Joe's or for like bowling and stuff?
Yeah.
What are we gonna do about that?
Yeah, so we'll have to arrange that. We'll have to assign a bus for that still. Or those kids may have to wait, and they may have to come back around and get everybody to go to that. Yeah.
It's clear reading through this that if you're vaccinated, you have like a free pass.
Correct.
So from a legal standpoint, is there any special dispensation for school districts? Can we ask for proof?
Yes. Actually, we can find it on our own. Because if kids were vaccinated, they're on the registry, and same with staff. So here's the legal aspect of this. We can ask you if you're vaccinated. We can't ask why you did or why you didn't. So that's where HIPAA comes in. But we have the right to ask, were you vaccinated? And if a kid says, well, I'm not going to tell you, we can look it up. We have the right to look it up.
Will we be preemptive there and look it up and create a list that says these people are?
I don't think we'll create a list, but I think we'll look it up, especially if they're close contact. And we know if they're 12 right now, they're not. So, I mean, that's going to be safe to say. But if they're 12 or older, we can look it up within 10 seconds.
Do we have any feel for what percentage of our student population above 12 is vaccinated at this point in time?
I know tonight 16 showed up for that. It's open tomorrow night again. But as far as other people getting it, no, I don't know. Thanks.
Without getting specifics, I mean, can we ask for that to provide that to the board before we start school? Just a rough percentage of how many kids?
Yeah, I can see if that's a report that could be ran. I'd have to kind of carry like on the registry. You can do it by school district, or if it's more personalized, where you'd have to go and look at each kid.
Looking for a motion to approve the
I
mitigation plan?
approve.
Second.
Motion by Adam, second by Ross. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Oh, and just on a side note, this will get, the message is ready, and Katie's just got to give me a link to this document that it'll go out via campus at 7 a.m. so I won't text people at 6 in the morning. And so they'll have it, and again, questions or whatever they have, but it'll go out to all parents in their email address, their Infinite Campus messenger, and then any text messages we have. I don't do voice because it's confusing to parents, because sometimes it doesn't click right, and then they go, well, 100 people call and say, hey, I got this message, I don't know what it said, and that becomes nightmarish. So,
Okay. All right, item I, board governance. One, discussion only, the 2019 to 2021 staff perceptual survey comparison.
sure. So annually, since I've been the superintendent, we've done the perceptual survey and put comparison numbers. And we actually did it the year before I started. So I took 17, 18 out, sort of bumped it out. So you have the comparison from 18, 19, 19, 20, and 2021. So the administrators obviously have examined this. Some of the administrators have dug, what was that, a helicopter kind of year in the parking lot. The administrators have dug deeper with anonymous surveys to their staff to really hone in on the ones that they wanted more information. Some administrators have it on their strategic plan meeting that'll take place in August with their staff. So again, if I had to reflect on this, I thought there'd be some areas that would decline. I wasn't wrong. One that I thought would go down some, and it didn't go down as much as I thought it would, was I feel emotionally and physically safe in the school setting. I anticipated that I go down just because of COVID. It did a little bit, but it wasn't significant. Another one that I thought would go down, again, that went down in some buildings more than others, was satisfied with opportunities for professional growth, because we really didn't do many professional growth opportunities last year because of our situation. Nobody went anywhere, and if it wasn't Zoom, it didn't happen. Other ones that I thought maybe like I look forward to coming to work every day, went down in a couple buildings. So I think, those are digging deeper. The ones that always pop up are code of conduct. And I say this with great respect, but when you give a survey like this and people answer the questions when it reflects upon them, the scores are always really high. When they answer questions when it reflects on their colleagues, the scores go down. And so in any of these situations where you're asking, are other people in the building conducting the code of conduct properly? Again, those numbers are not where we want them to be. It allows us to dig deeper of like, why do you feel like your peers aren't doing the code of conduct at the level that you believe is appropriate? So it's just finding those answers, trying to do better. Again, I feel like similar to the exit survey, these are never to like get rid of staff or for employment purposes. It's really to keep a pulse on the buildings and keep a pulse on the district, that we're not losing sight of a situation so where it gets so bad that we can't get it back. And that's how we take those. So again, there were some that were starting to trend back up and then they trended back down. We need to find out why that is. Believe it or not, even when you get staff in small groups within the building and you try to dig deeper, they won't always be honest again. And so you don't know who said what. And so when you try to dig deeper and try to say, hey, listen, we just want to solve this. We want to make it better. Sometimes you still don't get the honesty that you want from them. So we continue to take them for what they're worth. We continue to monitor them, and we're just trying to improve by using the data. I mean, as a whole.
Is there a 100% return rate on these?
No, I do have the return rate, and this is up. So Riverview had 83% return rate. Red Granite had 86% return rate. Parkside had 70, and the high school had 65% return rate.
I think it's fair to say with any of these surveys that the bigger you're actually grinding, the more likely you're going to return it. And if you're 100% satisfied, the less likely you are to spend the time.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. Like the people who didn't do it, how do they feel? We can make the assumption they're okay with it because they didn't do it. And I've always said that the ones that worry me always in here are undecided. Undecided people scare me because, like, at least if you strongly disagree about something, at least I know where you stand. When you have a big undecided number, to me, those are the items you really want to dig deeper on because why are they on the fence about something? And so, again, at least if I know you're strongly disagree, at least I know where you're at. But undecided is the one that I know when I was a principal, that's the one I always looked at the closest because I wanted to try to change that to the positive. To the best of my ability. Principals, anything else that you want to add or any items that maybe I didn't bring up or points that I didn't bring up? They've been discussed. I've had meetings with principals individually to go through them. We've talked about it in 2 admin meetings. So again, it's taking it, bringing it back to the staff. Somebody I thought said something pretty funny today. The staff would just figure out to be 100% agreement. We never have to talk about this again, but it would never get brought up. But we don't let it go. It's always out there. We're going to continue to monitor it. I think we do. You hear about other districts around. We're not going to name names, but have cultural issues. I'm not saying our culture is perfect by any means, but at least we're not letting it go to chance. We're trying to keep an idea of like, okay, what area is starting to flounder again? Okay, let's shore it back up to the best of our ability.
I think that I agree with you when you say like, COVID had quite a bit to do with, some of the responses of, things just were limited. You couldn't go someplace, whatever. The undecided gets me also, especially on the one for a strategic improvement plan. Part of my wondering for the undecided is, are we clear enough? Is it, do they not even know where to go? So I'm just like undecided, like you said, I'd rather have to say I agree or disagree. So that tells me, what are we doing to make sure they have a clear understanding of what it is? Have a t-shirt on it, I don't know. But what is the hang up of that one? The one though that concerns me the most, and this is shocking for me, staff members at our school treat students with respect. That hurts me to my core, I almost cried that staff members could see other teachers or staff members not treating students with respect. That burns me almost. And I'm sure it burns even the administration on that. That really gets me. To see that we have that out there.
Yeah. I think, I would say, I'm not obviously not making excuses, but the strategic plan one, I think some items there are just that there weren't full staff meetings. So those chances to get together and really rehash those, I don't think they were lost, but I don't know if they were reinforced at the level they had been in the past. That's one potential. The other one I agree with completely. I mean, the fact that that's a perception that
Yeah.
somebody is mistreating or not being respectful to a kid is very hurtful.
And the other kind of down the same was the school community has high expectations of all students. You know, I would think we'd be all on the same page, I mean, on that. I mean, see those kind of numbers are somewhat,
Yeah.
Now, if you flip that and you say, I treat students with respect, I guarantee that number would be super high.
Yeah.
You know, but when you're looking at others, that's what this is, it's a perceptual survey, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at what others do outside of yourself,
Right.
and then you are making, decisions or judgment calls based on the survey.
right,
And you gotta own up to that,
yeah.
because it is a perceptual survey, what's the old adage, perception is reality,
Yeah.
and so you gotta own up to it.
Well, clearly, COVID did have an impact on these surveys, and nobody's going to argue against that. I don't want to paint it with that brush though and say, well, we'll be fine next year, because there still are some concerning numbers in here, I feel. You know, we got between 22 and 38% of our students in teachers in 3 of our 4 buildings don't look forward to coming to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an issue.
And not all of that, there's some history there too, so that not all that's COVID related.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the meetings before the school year starts and how that gets adjusted as we move forward. And this was done in May, so I mean, it wasn't like in the middle of the heat, or November or something.
I think that question's flawed. I don't like the question that says I look forward to coming to work every day. I don't look forward to going to work every day. I love my job. But every day is a strong. That's how that's phrased, right?
It is, but I think compared over buildings.
Well, I understand that, but I think it's a flawed question. I think if you just say I look forward to coming to work generally, I think would be actually a better indicator of that. Again, I don't think there's a person on the planet that looks forward to going to work every day.
As long as,
I want your job.
as long as you use the term generally, they're not saying, well, like, I mean, are you smoothing over issues that could be there? I mean, there might be a day or two that were, but then you could focus on those issues that would maybe get, set aside on a general issue. So, I mean, I think that's the thing, to find the issues that, they have concerns about addressing them and making sure we do everything to make sure that we're addressing them and finding out,
We've always felt that was a trickle down, like if there's some others that you shore up, like code of conduct support, that I look forward to coming to work every day, seeing some boost back up again, because there are things that impact that feeling. Yeah.
The staff gets this whole thing, right? They all just get their building, they get the exact same document that we get of these results?
I don't know if I shared this with the whole district. I mean,
Or will you be sharing this? I mean, I think they all should see, not just
I
the
can.
building, but they should
Yeah.
see
I can't remember.
exactly what
You know if I
we got
shared
there.
it with the staff? I don't think I did. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I said a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can definitely share.
I think I would, and I would do it just beyond their building. I think you see the bigger piece.
No worries.
Any other
Yeah,
comments?
definitely nothing to hide. I mean, that's.
Right.
Yeah. And I would say, and with retirements, and I would say, and you'll get this in September, but the exit interviews are sort of in line. I mean, you can tell it's a little bit edgy, and coming off of last year. I mean, there's a.
well, I mean, what was put on the teachers with virtual and online education, I can't imagine the numbers would not show that representation in this survey. I mean, it was heaped upon them last year, so I can imagine the stress and how the feeling would change coming to work every day in that situation versus normal year. I can only imagine.
But I agree with Ross. I think it's also worth digging a little deeper to find out, okay, was it what happened last year, or
Something else.
was it those things, Barry, or is there something else underlying it, we don't want to miss?
Right.
Very valuable information, definitely worth the time it takes to do this.
All right, item 2, discussion only legislative update.
I did my call to our Senator Baldwin's office and talked to one of her assistants. Senator herself did not get back to me, but said really the only thing that's of concern right now, or anything that's catching eye, is getting the budget signed. And that was number one, and That's all there really had much to discuss about. Tom may have had some there, but that's the only thing she had.
I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's just politicking right now, back and forth with the budget and how federal money's gonna be spent and, you know, those type of things. I think we'll be eligible for ESSER 3. I think that's been done. I don't think anything else is gonna change. I think it's done and over with and we're moving forward. It's my opinion. I don't think you're gonna see a lot of agreement on any other educational type items.
All right. Board suggested future agenda items for the August 9th meeting.
I know we talked about it a little bit. Obviously, everybody sees everything in the news with the CRT and what's going on there. And I know we're staying on top of that. That's the area that typically isn't accustomed to that. But I know there's been some issues at other districts within the state, not only within the cities, but outside. So I hope we stay on that issue. I hope we're all on the same page on that. We certainly want to address any issues there. But I think in a civic means, I really do, and by all means, this is me speaking, so I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but I think a lot of our issues are with our students and our youth is respecting the flag, respecting our country, and I think this is one facility that should stand by. I think Pledge of Allegiance is not something we should take lightly. I think it's something that should be considered daily. That flag that waves above our facilities means something, and I think every one of our children should have the opportunity to understand what it's about. And I take great pride and have served my country, and I take a lot of pride in this country. And it's frustrating to see what's going on right now in our country as far as the disrespect. I love our country for the freedoms, but sometimes they go too far. And I would hope it's something that we would consider the Pledge of Allegiance. Civics are certainly something we should be focused on. I understand we have our core studies, and we want to take our kids as far as we can there, but I think we cannot turn our back on having our kids understand value as far as being an American, what it means to say that. And that's me speaking, and whether you agree with that or not, I'm sorry, but that's the way I feel.
And we verified that this year doing the Pledge of Allegiance every day in all buildings.
Yeah.
I did have one community member email about the critical race theory. I did copy. I don't know if I copied all of you back on that, or I know we're going to do for sure. But I just very very polite. I mean, I just said we focus on critical thinking and the ability to analyze and process information. But as far as the content of that is not, that's not, you tonight you approved the communication of the state standards, that is not in the state standards. I mean, as far as that particular item, there is about racism, diversity, all those topics are within social studies. But it's critically thinking, process through the information. She thanked me and replied, and that was that in Project 1619 type thing. And again, those are content pieces that I based on the study I've done, is the only place I've really ever seen that's being done at is the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Where those content pieces are being addressed, but not really in the public school level across the state.
I know some districts have been brought to the highlight, have been brought to the forefront, and that's just recently as far as CRT, that some individuals made it a point to come to meetings and say something to the district administrators and boards. So I just want to stay on top of it. I know what we are about in this area, so we're fortunate, but I certainly want us to be aware of it and stay on top of it. It's so important as far as I'm concerned, as far as our kids and how they go about their life from here on, and that they learn those values at a younger age. I think that's imperative at every level.
We're going to work on the voting initiative this fall. Julie and I are going to work on trying to get 18-year-olds from the fall together, get them registered to vote, take them in the Hornet bus and get them to their particular polls wherever they live, and get them vote. And do the same in the spring. So Julie's well versed in that, being the, I think she's a clerk at, and so, yeah. And again, not telling kids what to do, just like, hey, this is, you know, your right to vote. Educate yourself, and we're going to give you the opportunity to do it. We're going to try to remove any obstacles for your ability to vote, and however they vote, they vote. It comes back to that ability to think and to be citizens.
Like with any topic somebody feels passionate about, we're always welcome someone to come here and state their case, right? I think if we're ever in a situation, my personal opinion, if we're ever in a situation where we're looking to change something like that with CRT, there's going to be a lot of new faces around these desks. That's fine.
And of CRT, the only word that I want all of our kids to understand is think critically. Think critically. That's what I want. And I know we're doing that here in our district. The other board suggested future item, it'll be, I think, though, Tom and I discussed September, we'll do a special meeting for a walkthrough of the buildings once all the improvements and things are done over the summer. We'll take a little tour of all the buildings and see where everything's at. I think that was one thing we discussed.
Yeah, so I put on the agenda for August, I think already, I believe, to set the date for September. And that'll give them a chance to get everything done. Look at your guys' schedule, see who can make it, you know, hopefully everybody can, but I think we understand, obviously. And set a date and then start at one school, just take a tour around the district.
See all the boilers?
Not many of that, you know.
All right.
One other item, just so you're aware, and Caitlin and I have been meeting, but the night custodian from Red Granite had resigned in the spring. We have it posted 30 hours. We can't get anybody to bite on it. So I told Caitlin, you know, I didn't have time to be on the agenda for tonight, but I'm going to have it posted 40 hours, and then I'll bring it back to add to the position. Hopefully we'll also be able to bring somebody to hire for the position, but we're not even getting a lift. We put it, the paper, district Facebook, try to get out as many ways as possible. But, so if you guys know of anybody who, something they would be interested in doing, it's pretty flexible. It's not as late as what the Parkside and high school custodians work. But yeah, we don't have anybody.
That is not uncommon whatsoever. It's not uncommon.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
I think most people are looking for a 40-hour-week job, and that will change.
Yeah. Be more attractive.
Yeah.
Ross?
40's way too low.
You think 20 hours, Ross might be interested. Can you work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
1 hour a day.
He puts the word he's driving across.
I just need you to empty trash and that's it. That's all I'm asking, Ross.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
thank you guys.